Productivity gurus are treating you like a dog. That's exactly why you just go around in circles chasing your own tail instead of achieving real monk mode focus and results. For 5 years, I bought into their complicated systems too. I had fun goals, I had endless apps, and all I got was confusion and negative money. That's why in this video, I'll show you the 3 bullshit dog training guru habits that actually kill your focus, and of course how I replace them with 3 simple principles to achieve real monk mode and naturally save 67% of my time. So productivity gurus like to tell you to make your goals fun or give yourself treats to just get yourself to do the work, get things done. Sounds nice, right? Well, that's wrong because you're not a fucking dog. If you constantly rely on external or artificial fun to do things, you'll end up like a dog always begging for treats. But since you're the one who has the treats in hand, you'll just spiral into addiction, constantly wanting that cheap dopamine and leaving you feeling unfulfilled even if you get the treat, get the win, and never actually do your work. Because think about this. If you had a choice of playing a video game, would you play a video game that is so boring that like a walking simulator or some stupid shit where you have to do something in the background or have to do something else in order to actually play that video game? No, you're just gonna get rid of that video game and play something that's actually fun by itself, right? So monk mode for most people is just like that boring video game. They force themselves to do the work. Well, why do that? Why treat yourself like a dog when instead you could tap into the deep and fulfilling stuff of real monk mode? Instead, crafting the progress, the work itself into something that is the reward. So building your own work like an epic video game, not just forcing yourself through a boring one. And you can do that with the first component of something engaging, which is story. The overarching narrative that you have for your monk mode or any productivity that you do. And there's 3 fundamental parts that actually makes it engaging. First is intrapersonal. So this is internal conflict. Like, what internal demons are you fighting? What monsters are you slaying in your video game? It's like, I overcame my own laziness, so this is the enemy. And this is to prove that I'm not useless or prove that I can actually do something useful. That's an intrapersonal conflict, intrapersonal reason. And then there's also interpersonal, which is next. It's who are you helping? What external people are you helping other than yourself or actually fighting as well? So it could be something like, I built this business to help my family have a better life. And last part of a story is external conflict or external problems. What problems are you solving in the larger worlds? Things that you don't really have influence over. Something like, I help men in their 20s eat a healthier diet to prevent cancer because a bunch of my family members got killed by cancer and it could have been preventable from their diet. And can you see how all of these pursuits, all of these conflicts, each of them are endless story drivers? Like, you can pursue them endlessly and they'll never really be solved. Like, you can constantly conquer your own laziness. It never really goes away. You can constantly help people with their diet because there's billions of people out there. You can constantly improve your family's life, right? So I recommend you just start with intrapersonal because this is the easiest thing to discover, something that's with yourself. But the thing is, this is also the weakest conflict, the weakest storytelling aspect, because honestly, if you cared about yourself enough, then you would have, of course, achieved success or be motivated enough to work just by yourself. But you haven't, which is why you need other reasons that are external to you, like interpersonal and external. So it could be helping a family member, it could be doing it for whoever, but you create that reason and then you move to an external reason once you're able to sort through in your head. And you do this by solving the problems that are in front of you right now until you're able to discover, like, oh, this is the problem that I want to solve. And it's very, very important, very crucial here that you only pick one problem for each of these conflict categories. Because if you think about a story, like a really good story in a game, if like a volcano was going off, an earthquake and tornado and tsunami all at the same time, it sort of makes the story unrealistic, just a scattered mess. And that would do the exact same thing for your monk mode if you do that. So you pick one strong reason, and that's what really crafts your own good story or makes you want to keep motivated, keep progressing. And with all of those, you can see how any progress that you make towards your story, no matter how small it is or however insignificant, it'll feel inherently meaningful, right? In a way, like now that you're progressing in your story, it is fun. You know, it's fun to go through the story, through your own story especially. But the thing is, of course, to make progress, you have to actually do the work. So that's where the second part comes into crafting your own epic video game, which is to make quests. And I won't spend too long here, but these are the actionable steps that you actually do every single day to advance your story. And I genuinely mean every single day. So I recommend literally every single night you think about the quest for the next day. This just makes it so it's clear just clear as possible. Exactly what you need to do. So there's no room for confusion when there's nothing in your mind in the morning when you wake up. Because of course your mind wants to fill when it's empty. So you have something ready to fill it with. And I recommend you just use like a notepad. I literally have one for my desk. I've been using it for like 3 years every single day, and it hasn't failed me. So I recommend that as the easiest solution. But honestly, use whatever is easy for you. If you're like always on the go, maybe on something on an app on your phone is better, or just like literally a Google Doc on your computer if that works, or a sticky note. And the key here is just to think. Every time you're trying to come up with a task, what is the most crucial thing that will move me the most on my story, or get rid of blockages in my story? And this turns your super vague ambition now into something clear, a clear path that you can actually move on each day for your monk mode. But of course, you actually have to have something to work on, like an occupation, right? And ideally something that makes money, or else, like what are you going to make quests for? Right? It's not going to work. So that's where the third part comes in, the third aspect. And that is to choose your class. Like if you were to choose a class like wizard or warrior or whatever in a video game, it's the same thing for your monk mode. You have to choose the exact vehicle or class that you want to use in order to progress, move through the quest. And I put this as the last part 3, because it's one of the more difficult things that you have to come up with, because you just have to try a lot of shit before you can really pick the right class. But just going with the cancer example, which I think maybe could help you, like helping people with their diet. Of course, in this case, you could like start a private newsletter and charge a subscription for it, or become a coach, or literally become like a nutritionist or a naturopathic doctor that helps people more efficiently and does like more deeper research. But don't go try to search online for like, oh, what is the most optimal thing to do, the best thing to do, like drop shipping, or is it FBA, or is it day trading, or is it starting an agency? There is no best class for you. There's no best vehicle. The best vehicle for you is one that actually aligns with your skills and you're genuinely interested in, you're genuinely engaged by, you want to learn more about it, you get more curious by it. That is the best skill for you for your monk mode. It's not about forcing yourself to hustle hard like all the gurus say, just to make a few bucks. You have to find something that feels impactful and effective to progress you on your story. And therefore, you sort of make money as a natural byproduct, which keeps you going. And by the way, if you really are struggling to pick a class right now, top link in the description of this video is a monk mode clarity quiz where I'll personally help you review all the answers and write a email reply to you within a week for pointers on what you could potentially do completely for free, at least for now. But with all these components, you no longer need an external treats for your monk mode to keep going. You feel more engaged, like a good video game. The progress is the reward by itself. But unfortunately, if you're anything like me, you always feel burnt out. You never actually feel like doing the work. So you can never get yourself to work. And even when you genuinely want to work, you still don't do it. Like, think about it. You think about work all day. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all this shit done. But when you actually sit down and go to do it, you're like, oh fuck, I can't do it. But this next part is exactly how I reversed it. So I want you to think about a dog again. You gotta keep it busy, right? If you left your dog at home, it would just literally get depressed, or while you're away, it would go and like fuck up the furniture, or very literally actually fuck the furniture in every sense of the word. Many people treat themselves the same way. They pack their days full of stuff so they don't go crazy from their boredom. They feel productive because their schedule is full. But here's the thing. So if you think about a dog, a little sad boy here sitting at home all bored. The dog's world of tasks, or what the dog could potentially do is very small, right? The dog can bark, the dog can run around, the dog can maybe do a few tricks or like play with some toys, but really can't do too much. I say fuck your furniture too, but just by simply giving it a toy, like one little physical thing to do, because that's really all it can do, then this box is filled and it's no longer bored. But think about a human's potential of tasks. Literally, it's fucking infinite, right? You could read, start writing, social media, sports, playing a video game, multiple business, learning a language, traveling. It's like straight up a black hole. You could literally fill it with anything and everything. And the thing is, most people try to fill this black hole with a ton of tiny little million things and pack their calendar like I mentioned. And sure, they're getting a lot of shit done, but they just end up shit at everything. You're missing out on insane levels of deep work and mastery that you can achieve from monk mode if you just dedicated this black hole, this infinite potential to just one thing. Think about that. The infinite potential. that you have within you, unlike a dog, to just one thing, how much progress could you make? So how do you stop being a busy dog and instead be a human with singular monk mode focus? The first step is just like picking a toy for the dog is picking a toy for yourself to be yourself occupied. Again, don't try to day trade, drop ship, get a six-pack, find a girlfriend, build a business, play a video game, learn a language, travel to Thailand all at once. That's straight up retarded. Instead, just pick one primary goal for now. Like, don't be afraid of missing out, because remember, once you accomplish one thing, you can just move on to the next or make significant progress. So you pick one toy, one goal, and just have it dedicate at least 70 to 80% of your time, or 70 to 80% of that black hole potential that you have, and just really focus on it. And then the other, about 20 to 30%, this is best used to keep your fundamental health good in check. And I think the best way to illustrate that is 3 parts. FWD. So you want to keep fueled up, good nutrition. You want to work out, so have good physical fitness or exercise with a consistent schedule. And then D, dream. So getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every single day. And with that, you can move forward, keep yourself moving forward on your toy that you chose, or your goal that you chose for the 80, 70, 80% of your focus. And step 2 is to pick new toys. And what I mean by this is you of course have to stick to your one primary focus until you've made significant progress. But until you made significant progress, don't try to switch, because what happens there is you just end up in like a shiny object syndrome where you never really make progress, so you didn't spend enough time even though you're focusing on one thing. So in the pick new choice, it's first try to spend at least 3 months to 1 year on one thing. And of course, have like a particular project that you have in mind for this time period and dedicate it towards that toy. So of course, if it's something like building a business from scratch, it could be more of the 1 year time frame. Or if it's just like learning one particular skill or small project, then 3 months is good. And I wouldn't really go more than 1 year. Of course, you could still be working towards the same story conflicts, but just have different smaller projects that you are working on within to keep you engaged. Because if you go too long, like say you try to plan out 10 years, 2 things happen here. 1, you can't really see out 10 years, and therefore your plans fall apart, and then you just have to reevaluate, wasting your time. And then the second thing is you're just going to get bored. Sticking with the same exact thing, thinking about the same thing for like 10 years straight, you're going to get bored. You have to change it up ever so slightly. So that's why you cycle your new toys, cycle your different goals, and you decide the time that is right for you. And this essentially stops you from getting bored from like overusing your toy, if you think about it like that, without getting scattered. As long as you make sure you always make meaningful progress first before you cycle, and also make sure every single toy, every single goal that you actually set yourself on actually progresses you on one of your story conflicts, whichever one it may be. And now you're able to get things done way faster because the compounding efficiency of dedicating your black hole of focus to one thing, your infinite potential, closer to real monk mode now. But of course, even if you're able to start the work and have super single focus on one thing, if you constantly have distractions coming towards you, pulling you away from your work, your focus sprint is going to become a crawl, right? You're going to get slowed down by these distractions. So let me show you how to stop these distractions fast with a tool that's available to you 100% of the time for those unavoidable situations where, of course, those distractions are going to creep up on you, right? This is exactly what I did. Again, think about training a dog. You, of course, have to train the dog to not shit on the ground, right? You don't want the dog to shit on the your kitchen floor or something like that. It relies on you to take it outside, to shit, also to train it. But even once the dog is trained, super trained to not shit in the floor, it knows it should not shit in the floor, it doesn't want to shit in the floor, but what happens if you come home late, or something happens, like it eats some weird shit off the ground, so it gets diarrhea, boom, shit on your floor, right? The dog can't hold it in, and it can't go outside because you're not there to let it outside. So no matter how much the dog knows it shouldn't take a shit inside, it can't control itself because it's dependent on you to make sure it is able to shit outside. So productivity gurus turn you into this dog that isn't able to go outside. The endless parade of tools or apps or complex notebooks, habit trackers, notification systems. Sure, of course, these things are helpful, but most people rely on them because gurus say it's going to fix all of their distractions. They become just like the dog. The apps, the tools become their owner. Eventually, a tool will fail, a notification won't pop, or you'll be in a situation where you don't have your owner. You don't have those tools on hand. And then what? You'll shit on the floor, of course. You'll watch the dirt video, you'll play the video game, you'll scroll on social media, and you'll not do the work that you know you want to do. And this is because you're missing one crucial aspect that separates this dependent dog from an actual human, which is something that monks themselves constantly try to master. And this is consciousness and awareness. The ability to realize the moment that you're getting distracted and then also self-correct without anything external, like no tools needed. You fix your own distraction. That is the only tool that you're able to rely on 100% because that's the only thing that you have with yourself all the time. You yourself always have yourself with you. Therefore, the only foolproof thing for your monk mode is to train yourself into something that can destroy distractions. And there's a simple 2-step process that I think is best to use for this no leash monk mode, essentially, no dependence monk mode. The best way to think about it is if you think of a fly. So if a fly is buzzing around your room, of course, it's super annoying, right? The first job in order to kill this fly is figure out where the fuck it is, right? Because you have to figure out where it is before you can kill it. But until then, it just becomes noise and there's no way you can get rid of it. So the first step is to spot the fly. Just like a hidden fly, you got to pinpoint it before you can swat it. Most of the distractions start as an unconscious sort of drifting away from your work. So the first job is to sharpen your awareness. So instead of just hearing the buzz and letting it go by, you actually see the fly right away. You see the distraction, basically think in your head, oh fuck, I'm being distracted, or like, I should be doing X, not scrolling right now. Literally, just consciously think that thought. Brings that distraction from the unconscious, which you cannot control, to the conscious, where you do have control. And you might be thinking right now, it actually sort of like meditation, which it is, but this is like an active version. You want to do it while you work in, and eventually you train it up. But of course, if your mind is super fucked up, then a very good habit to do is actual meditation, and that indirectly trains the skill of being able to catch these unconscious distractions in your mind. Both of those things, so spotting the fly and actual meditation. But step 2, of course, is you actually need to track and kill the fly or kill the distraction. Meaning that once your distraction's in your conscious mind, then you have to be able to keep it in your mind, keep it in the conscious, then be able to take action to destroy it. So practically, this is a very simple process. First thing you need to do is acknowledge that the distraction there. You think to yourself like, oh fuck, there's the urge to check Instagram. Once you have that in your mind, just quickly reconnect to your day's quest or think about what you have to do. This could be as simple as like looking at your to-do list, like, oh, I have this left to do for my story. Then the last step is to just take decisive action to redirect your focus, really redirect your attention back to your work. The best way to do that is literally just get back to work. But if you can't do that, you have to do something that's super low resistance. So what I like to do is I have predefined actions, something like just go and take a piss first and then come back to your work, or go get a drink, or make yourself a tea, make yourself a coffee, get yourself a snack. And with these predefined pattern interrupts, very simple actions, you're able to get that distraction out of your mind with a little something else, which makes it a lot easier for you to come back to your work. And this internal spot and swat method within your own mind is the core to self-directed monk mode, because you become a master of your own attention without anything else. So you'll be able to stop chasing all those treats that the gurus recommend. You have a meaningful quest to progress on instead of forcing yourself through work. And you also have the internal awareness to never rely on any crutches and never waste your time with them ever again. Real monk mode. But you might be thinking, monk mode's still fucking hard as shit, right? Like, how long do you actually need to stay in monk mode for? What do you actually be doing in that time so you're not bored? Do you really have to cut out everything within monk mode, like no fun activities, no social activities, and be in isolation and only work? Well, you don't. Real monk mode shouldn't feel like punishment. It shouldn't feel like you're in a prison. It should actually feel good. So watch the video next where I'll answer all those exact questions. How you can enter monk mode that feels genuinely good so you can actually make deep focus sustainable in your default state.